Back in July 1991, Ryuho Okawa, the founder of the Japanese movement Happy Science, gave a speech that was, well, it was a lot of things. It was a victory lap, a divine revelation, and a super urgent call to save the entire world. It was a moment that really galvanized his followers by laying out this breathtakingly ambitious vision for their future. So how did one speech manage to pull all of that off? Let's break it down.
The speech kicks off with this simple, powerful line. Right away, it sets this tone of absolute confidence, of some kind of miraculous achievement, a victory that the speaker claims completely defied all rational expectations. But what victory is he even talking about?
Well, the first part of the speech is all about proving it. The speaker knows he needs to show some real, tangible evidence that something that seemed impossible had just happened.
See, just 1 year before this speech, he had set a goal that must have sounded astronomical: to gather this exact number of followers, or, as he called them, soldiers of light, all within a single year.
Now here's where it gets really clever. He openly admits, hey, we didn't hit that exact number, but he masterfully frames this not as a failure, but as something that shattered all expectations anyway, even his own. He challenges the crowd, basically asking, come on, who here could have possibly imagined this was even conceivable just 1 year ago?
Then he reveals the actual number, over 520,000 new followers. He doesn't present this as falling short. No, he calls it the miracle of faith. It was a number so huge, so unexpected, that it served as proof of a power that was beyond just normal human effort. And that sets the stage perfectly for his next big point.
So after demonstrating this miraculous power, the speaker pivots to explaining its source. And this becomes the central, mind-blowing revelation of the entire speech. So, the crucial question he has to answer is this: who is he? Is he just a man, or is he something else entirely?
He makes a critical distinction here. He tells the audience not to get confused by the physical man, Ryuho Okawa, standing in front of them. That guy, he says, is just a vessel. His true identity, the being that's actually speaking eternal truth, is Cantare.
He defines Cantare not as a human being, but as the embodiment of the law that governs the entire universe, the supreme being with total authority over the planet. So this isn't just a name change, it's a fundamental claim about the very nature of his existence and where his teachings come from.
But here's where the speech takes a really fascinating turn. Right after establishing his own divinity, he immediately flips the focus onto the divinity within every single person in the audience.
He uses this incredibly empowering language to tell his followers that they are not small, they are not weak. He argues that because he created their souls, he actually placed a piece of that same immortal power and wisdom inside each and every one of them. The implication here is profound. That same divine light is inside every follower. But, and this is a big but, this power comes with a condition: total freedom, which means total responsibility. He makes it crystal clear that no one else is to blame for their lives, and he even reframes suffering as the necessary path to finding the greatest happiness. From the personal, the speech then zooms way out to the cosmic. The stakes are raised from individual happiness to the very survival of humanity itself. He introduces a pretty dark prophecy for the decade leading up to the end of the century. He talks about a schedule that includes massive natural disasters, wars, and the deaths of countless people. To put their mission into perspective, he presents this sort of cosmic census. He says, look, there are over 5 billion people living on Earth, right? But there are 54 billion spirits in the heavenly realms connected to our planet. The message is clear. What happens here has implications on a scale we can barely wrap our heads around. And crucially, he stresses that these horrifying prophecies are not inevitable. He calls it a schedule, a potential future that can still be changed. But the window is closing. The fate of the world, he warns, is going to be decided by the actions taken in the next 10 years. The clock is ticking.
And that provides the ultimate motivation for the final section of the speech, an urgent and very specific call to action.
The goals are laid out with almost military precision. Starting from their current strength of 1.5 million, he calls for them to reach 5 million by the end of the year, then 10 million by the following summer. The ultimate goal? To convert every single citizen in Japan as a necessary step to generating enough light to save the world.
And get this, their responsibility doesn't stop with the living. He declares that they must also save the billions of souls he claims are suffering in hell.
Their work is presented as this sacred duty that transcends time, affecting the past, present, and future all at once.
This is the powerful idea that brings it all home. He places the full weight of the world's future right on their shoulders. He argues that a global utopia isn't just possible, but it's within their grasp, and the only obstacle is a lack of effort. It's an incredible burden of responsibility for sure, but it's also an incredible grant of power.
In the end, the speech is just a masterclass in motivation. It combines victory, divine revelation, and terrifying prophecy to transform followers into soldiers in a cosmic battle. It places the fate of the world squarely in their hands, which brings us back to a final question. If you believed you could alter the future of the planet, what would you be willing to do?